Good afternoon, everyone. This is Naishat Gadani coming to you from Melbourne. And today is our 141st episode of Career Care Package.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Jess. Thanks, Jess. We're off to a really good start, Naish.
Today's episode, we are talking to Jess about how to turn an internship into a job. It's a very interesting story Jess is going to tell us and share her, lived experience as an international student, navigating the initial years, but also how she really leveraged on internship and gaining practical experience as one of the cornerstone of her, setting up for her job success. So that's what we are going to talk to Jess. And as usual, if you got questions as well for Jess or for us, because since it's a Friday, LinkedIn Live, which means that it is a parliamentary 0 hour as well. That means you can ask us all the questions that you want as well. So feel free to drop in your questions as well. But before we talk to Jess, let's welcome Caroline Brown.
Thanks, Naish. I always smile when you say it's parliamentary 0 hour because that means that people can ask us questions, but we don't need to answer them. We can just, talk about what we want. So, look, it's really lovely to have you here, Jess.
Caroline talk show.
Sorry, our own talk show.
Yeah, our own talk show.
Exactly. So it's on the couch. So today's show is called On the Couch with Jess. And yeah, Jess, really fantastic to talk to you because when we have people on that have real life lived experience of what they've done, it makes it really meaningful. All the theory that we talk about really, really meaningful. And, how do you put that theory into practice? So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's my honor.
Excellent. So I reckon a great place to start for everyone is for you to tell people about the amazing job that you have right now and what you're actually doing.
So I am currently working as an actuarial analyst in an insurance company. So for those of you who don't know what is actuarial science, it's basically insurance mathematics. So we help insurance quantify risks and then we help them avoid risks, sometimes project future as well. So as an actuarial analyst, I work in a pricing team. So pricing team's main job is to make sure we know what's the right price to have for now for the company. So we will have more than enough profit margin and everyone's happy. And currently, because I'm very new to the role, I don't get too much decision making in the pricing task. So what I did was mainly going through the data, clean the data, and make my own suggestions and findings from the data, and then present it to my manager or to the board. And my job involves a lot of SQL coding, looking at Excel spreadsheet, and doing my reports. So that's it.
Sounds fantastic, and a deep dive, as we were talking about before, into being into nerddom in terms of numbers and risk and analysis and statistics and that kind of stuff. So what was your journey to get that job? Because that's what I think everyone will be interested in. How did you go about, because you got the job at the start of the year, is that correct? How did you go about getting it? What did you need to do?
So I did not land this job just based on my own effort. When I was interning at Munich Re, it's another global reinsurance company, I know my time is going to finish up soon. So 2 months prior, I'm going to finish up my internship. I was trying to stay in my own company first, but unfortunately don't have like any available slot at the moment back then. So I was like, okay, what can I do now? That's when I realized maybe I can work with people, work with recruiters, because they are getting paid to help me find a job. And then they will get, they will get paid to help me find a job. So I was like, if I talk to them, it will be a win-win situation. So I work with this super responsible recruiter, and it's essentially through her connection with the company and my own effort during the interview that secured a deal for me.
Okay. So it's funny because, people have different experiences with recruiters and struggle to know how to actually build a relationship with them. So what did you do? What did you do to actually have that recruiter work hard for you as well?
I guess because I connected with her. She's a very nice person, and I respect her, and I trust her. I tell her what I want, and I always say thank you. I make her feel like she's one of my friends, and just a connection. I think because if you connect with people, you build a relationship. People are willing to work hard for you if you're authentic.
Okay. Nesh, you look like you're about to say something.
Excellent.
Yep.
Yes, I just wanted to welcome Balin, Payal, and Apulal, and there's also, Russell, saying woo, Jess.
Do you know
So it
Russell, Jess?
must be one of your fans. So Russell, please make sure as a compliment, please make sure that you subscribe and like this YouTube channel as well. And Rakesh is saying yes. Hi, and Amit, welcome. Amit, all the way from Mumbai. So let's probably go a little bit. So you came here as an international student, and we all know international students have really tough. Because of you got restricted visa, rights at the beginning. You got to manage your work. You also have to find time for study, but also that you also have to build your future. Also, you don't, it's not really given in a plate as such. So tell us about your initial experiences, Jess. How did you, orient yourself into Australian society? What did you do to really, get yourself into the rhythm of work and, study and everything else?
That's a great question, Nash. And yeah, 100%. It's very tough for international students to just build their own life here, essentially. I was lucky enough that this is not the first foreign country I ever went to, because I spent around 4 years in Singapore before I came here. So I already had the experience of, oh my God, I don't know what to do. So I learned from the experience. So when I came to Australia, I'll be like, oh, this is not too bad. Because I already had a culture crash a few years ago when I was even younger. So I was like, great, I know what I want to do now. I know when I graduate, I want to find a job that I love. So I literally picture what I want to do in 3 years' time when I just landed in Australia. So I reverse engineer. I say, if I want to go to that goal, what can I do to increase my chances of getting there? So internship is one, extracurricular activities is another one, a good grade is another one, and build up your relationship skills to expand your network is another important one. So I did everything according to my plan. I try to do everything according to my plan. Sometimes it does not go with my plan. So essentially that's how I failed when I landed in Australia, which is not too bad, and how I plan my every step ahead for the goal I want to achieve.
That sounds amazing, Jeff. And Jess, sorry, I called you Jeff. Sorry, I'm getting my S's mixed up with my F's. Sorry. How did you that is a really practical way. You can see that you're a numbers person by saying reverse engineer and what are the key elements that you needed to have. How did you know that they were that? Did you have a mentor, or is that something that you learnt from being in Singapore that didn't work for you? How did you know what to actually do?
Thanks for asking me that. Well, when I was in Singapore, the reason why I came to Australia was because I hit my rock bottom when I was in Singapore. I had a rough time there, and I was studying hospitality. I have no idea what I'm going to do in my future. I interned in a hotel. I hate it. And that's when I realized, okay, I hate this job. What can I do to change my future? That's how I planned everything that I went to Australia. I know I want to have a corporate job. I want to have a better job outlook. But initially, when I landed in Australia, I don't know what I need to do. I don't know who am I supposed to talk to. Which house am I going to be looking at? So it's more about just do baby step. So go to your school, first of all, and talk to your teachers, talk to those student society, talk to those mentor at school, because you can't just land in Australia and find a mentor the other day. build relationships, always help people, ask them what can I help you, and you literally have to help them, and then when you need something, ask politely. Um, I hope that helps. It's not that practical, just a macro things I think we should do.
Yeah, no, but I think it is actually like those elements are actually really, really practical. And it's not always you do one thing and the next thing leads on. You've got to have kind of like the building blocks in place. So if we can jump forward to your internships, because you got some internships at some pretty solid, global places. How did you do that? What was critical for you to get those?
So I'll be talking about my second internship with Munich Re. That's a global British company. They actually did not post any job online, and I know their company, so I was just like, okay, I tried everything. Everyone rejected me. I'm just gonna cold email them. I have nothing to lose, so I cold email the recruiter, not just by saying, hey, can you offer me a job, but by telling her why I want to work for the company, by telling her why I believe I'm a good candidate, and also by inserting some attachments that show my track record of being very numerical and my case competition result and my case competition spreadsheet. I even insert that into the email and tell her, I think I'm a good candidate. This is the value I can offer, and I would like to talk to you more about this role. That was actually me applying for a graduate program, and she came back to me and said, we do not have graduate program open at the moment, but we have an internship. Would you be willing to do it? And internally, I was like, yes, just now, give me a job now. But like I told her, thank you. I would be more than happy to have a chat with you. And I built a connection with the recruiter, and I built a connection with the manager who interviewed me. And yeah, that's how I landed a job, basically.
Wow. So you cold emailed Munich Re. You cold emailed the recruiter, did you? But you were applying for a graduate job, or?
Yeah, I was applying for graduate role.
Yeah. Wow, that's fantastic. And so, I've got one more question, Nation, then I'll let you talk. But just because it leads on to from what you said, because you've spoken about it a couple of times about building that connection. What do you do to build that connection?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, depends on who you're talking to. If it's a recruiter, normally, well, you think about what does a recruiter want. So they want to get the right candidate for the company. So if you can help them filter you out in a very quick and easy way, that'd be fantastic. They don't want to read 1,000 words on why you're fantastic. They want to read one sentence on who you are, what do you do, how can you help. So if you can help them identify you quicker by doing that, that'd be great. And also being respectful and also say thank you. That's a big part. So that's how I connect with the recruiters. The way how I connect with my manager, it depends on who my manager is. So I always go through his or her LinkedIn profile to kind of gauge what kind of personality that person has. Is he career focused, or is he funny? What is he like? And I have an abstract understanding of what that person is. So when I talk to him, I adapt to his tone, I adapt to his speed of speaking. I try to connect with him in a subconscious way as well. And while I was talking to him, I pick up subtle things that he mentioned, such as sport, such as, I pick up my girls from where, and you just keep on going the conversation with his girls, right? And I think just finding what's common between you two. If you can't find it, try to continue the conversation on whatever they just brought up. That's how I build connections with them.
That's fantastic. I'll let you speak.
I think what I'm saying, KB, is that I think what you are saying in last 10 minutes, Jess, is what we've been telling or we've been discussing. I think, but the way you articulated that is absolutely phenomenal, because one of the things that I really is reverse engineering. I think I've worked with many project managers, but in a project, you've got a deadline that you ought to finish this project in 6 months, 12 months. But I've not seen the project managers applying similar principle when it comes to job seeking. They don't compartmentalize. No, now job seeking is far different in terms of there is so many things outside of your control. I completely understand that, right? I'm not talking about the uncertainty part, but I'm just talking about the pure planning part itself. I think you've nailed it absolutely right. But at the same time, I think the majority of the plan that you must have worked out, happen. Few uncertainties do play a role into that, but I think that amount of clarity and that amount of dedication that you wanted to give yourself, which is commendable, because that's one of the most cornerstone of just not this success, but any part of the success. So I think that's really profound. Another one that you spoke about is the way you build your connections with people. And in writing cover letter, talking about giving evidences to people to see, all those things are absolutely gold nuggets. I think you can give us the hard time to with our clients as well. If you start to coach, I'll be more worried about this. uh, okay, so we got a question for you. Okay, the question is, we got a comment or a question, just, and then we will go to the one of the most important things I want to talk about, the rejection one. So Gaurav is asking, what are your thoughts on when the recruiter never come back to you? Has it happened to you, as you started to talk to people and what we now call as ghosting? People just leave you. Has it happened to you, and how did you deal with that?
Thanks for asking. Yes, it has happened to me tons of times. I would say if I emailed 100 people, let's say for example, probably 90 of them would just ignore me, and 5 would say no, and the rest would just give me whatever excuses they have, and then maybe only 1 or 2 would say, "Oh yes." So that's pretty much the rate you will have in your job market right now. So if a recruiter did not get back to me, I would follow up once. I would follow up with, "Hey, this is who am I, and why am I approaching you? And did you receive the email sent to you last Thursday?" Do not follow up the day after. Maybe follow up after 3 or 4 working days, because they are busy. They are very, very busy. Follow up with them once. But if you really, really, really want their role, follow up with them twice. Don't follow up more than 3 times, just to try your luck. And it's very important to know that people ghosting you doesn't mean you're worthless and they just want to ignore you and you have no future at all. People ignore you because they're very busy, and if you can be empathetic towards those people and to yourself, don't beat yourself up, that'll be great. Thank you.
Sounds like not to take it personally, but to be a little bit persistent, but know when enough's enough, basically, with that. So sounds like also maybe you had a lot of irons in the fire, like applications out, and were giving yourself quite a few options. Would that be correct?
Absolutely. So back then when I applied for jobs, I set a goal for myself. I will send emails to 10 people every day. And I do every day from Monday to Sunday. There's no weekend for me. So through that consistency and persistence, I still have nothing. That's why I called email the recruiter.
Well, I think that's fantastic, and kudos to you, because you never know who's going to actually say yes. And a lot of I have this thing about the consistency. I think if you do something little every day, even if you don't feel like it, you're still kind of moving the needle. But if you do it in peaks and troughs, like you give yourself a week between applications or whatever, that's when the mind games come in, and you really have to lift yourself out of the trough and get back on the horse, mixing my metaphors, of course. But you really have to pick yourself up and do it. But I think if you're consistent, for some reason you're kind of on a smoother ride somehow, and you don't have to kind of keep talking yourself into doing stuff. And that's what I've noticed about people that get a job faster, is they just keep at it. So yeah, kudos to you.
Thank you. That's a very good point.
Now we got another question from Imtiaz that how did you crush your fear of reaching out to people? Was it something, because obviously this is not particularly just just in the job search sense, but did you felt any kind of fear or apprehension even when you came here as an international student, because that's part of the whole process of really working your way through integrating with the Australian work society, study, and everything else. Did you come across any concerns around that, and if yes, then what did you do to really address that and go beyond that?
That's a good question. It would be unrealistic for me to say. I absolutely love talking to every stranger on the planet and have no fear at all. That would be unrealistic. And I think I do have that fear as well, even today. Like, if you want to find your boyfriend, even if you're in dating scene, you also feel that fear. I think that fear of being rejected is very normal for almost everybody. And to me, I dig deeper. I ask myself, why was I afraid of talking to people? Then I asked myself a few whys. I realized I was actually afraid of being rejected and afraid of being judged by the other person for the things I don't want them to think of. And once I noticed that, I was like, well, if I think I'm not competent in doing this, do they actually know? They don't. You are basically projecting your fear onto that person's thoughts, which reinforce your fear. And I was like, okay, I would never feel like talking to a stranger, but I will just count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Say hi. Just force yourself to do it, even if you don't feel like doing. Because let's face it, we don't always feel like waking up at 5. We don't always feel like finishing an assignment. We don't always feel like applying for jobs. But if you just tell yourself, if I do this, I will be successful, and I'm just going to do it. I don't care how I feel, I'm just going to do it. Then you will get better at talking to people. And your competency will help you feel more confident. And your confident will help you feel more competent. So it's a positive cycle of a day.
I love that. It's funny, there's a book by Mel Robbins called, I think it's like the 5-second rule or the 10-second rule.
Yes, 5-second rule, yeah.
And so it sounds like you've put that into play.
Every day. Yeah.
Do you want to just repeat that? Like, I don't know if everybody's read that book. I mean, Mel Robbins is this famous life coach who's written this book, and she's all over Instagram and YouTube and so forth. So do you want to tell people, Jess, how the lesson that she has, the core lesson from that book around the countdown and just kind of do it? Is that, because that sounds like it's been your approach in reaching out to people and doing all sorts of things.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking me that question.
That's okay.
Mel Robbins is a fantastic businesswoman who I suggest everyone to follow her, especially if you want to build a meaningful life for yourself. So her idea is she doesn't believe in motivation, because motivation will never be there when you need it. And we will never feel like doing something because finishing up that assignment is painful. Working at 5 is painful. Exercising every morning is painful. And no one on earth will be like, I feel like do this every single day. But Mel Robbins says, you don't have to wait until you feel like doing something. You just need to count. Because while you're counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're breaking the loop of your thoughts. When you break it, you have to start doing right now. And if you do it right now, you'll be like, it's actually not that hard. I'm just gonna keep doing it. Do it for 5 minutes, and if you think you can continue going, continue going. So her idea was, don't wait, just do it. But how can you don't wait and do it? Count 5 seconds and push yourself.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I always think of that when I'm going to hit snooze on the alarm, because she has this thing around, we sleep in 90-minute cycles. So if you hit snooze, you're giving yourself another 90 minutes before you actually get up and do that damn exercise or whatever it is that you do. So you've got to not hit snooze and do the count and get up. And she's got a great story about how she's transformed her life. So yeah, if you haven't watched it or seen her, guys, I just go and check it out. And I'm so glad you brought it up, Jess, because we always talk about that momentum, giving motivation, not the other way around. So yeah, fantastic.
Excellent. Now, just tell us about the rejection email that you got from a recruiter, and then you said, you know what, go ahead, go to hell with the rejection email. Let me do something with
5,
it,
4,
right?
3, 2, 1.
Then you counted 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then said, I'm just going to respond to that. Tell us about that and what happened after that.
Thanks for bringing it up. So the whole situation was, after 4 rounds of interviews, I was rejected, and I sent them an email that turned things around. That was the background. And I did this by accident because it was like literally, guys, 4 rounds of interviews, and I know that I have connections with them, and they like me, they want to hire me. And when I heard that, I'm sorry, we are going with another candidate, I was shocked because I thought I'm the one. And I get very defensive. I was trying to send them an email of being there, like, why did you pick me? And I thought I'm a good fit, but I stopped there. Thankfully, I then sat down and I was like, okay, I failed. What can I learn? I did not intend to send them an email straight away. It was after a couple of hours, I feel like I was pissed off. Why didn't you choose me? But instead of getting defensive, I changed my tone in a way that goes, okay, I really think I'm a good candidate. And if you've made up your mind, I trust you. I trust you know what's best for your team, and I'm not going to interrupt you doing the best decision for your team. However, this is what I can offer. If you have another role opening up in your team or other teams, I'm more than happy to come back for any further discussion. So they came back to me really quick, like after 30 minutes, and they said, there's another role opening up in another team. Would you like to be a part of it? It was not a role I was expecting because I want to be very technical while people facing. But that role was purely people facing. So I politely rejected them. But the whole morale of the story was getting no is not the end if you know how to turn it around.
So your turning it around was not being defensive. It was about, I totally respect that you've come to this decision, but I'm still very interested to be considered if something else comes up, and here's why I'd still be a good fit. Was that the kind of thrust of the email?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Wow. It's a good story, and not responding straight away as well. In terms of, I'm responding with that rejection versus just being a little bit more objective about.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's why sometimes, Caroline, I don't respond to your LinkedIn messages quickly.
I'm never rude.
Often I feel like,
all right, we should
sorry.
not, we should not put our dirty laundries
right.
on LinkedIn Live. Sorry about that, guys. No, we are best buddies. Okay, so let's also talk about, because as we know, especially in Victoria, we are still not out of the woods. Employment is still a big thing, big issue here, and probably also Sydney, across anywhere else. What are your, given that you found a role, given that you've tried and hustled a lot of things, what are your tips on when someone's looking for a job right now? Not just someone who's a graduate, but also if you also want to focus on a graduate, but also taking it beyond graduate, what are some of the things that you would tell them?
Great question. We all love tips. That helps us get where we want to be. So I think it depends on whether you can be self-sufficient or not. If you can, then I suggest you to take it slowly, because you have that finance foundation for you to figure out, really think through, what do you want, why do you want it, and figure out how can you do it. That's the most important step. But if you can't be self-sufficient at the current stage, and you need that money right away, but you can't find a job tomorrow, I suggest you to hustle and make some money first. Like if you can do delivery, do delivery. If you can buy something from Facebook Marketplace and flip it. Do whatever it takes to feed yourself first, then figure out what you want to do. And to those group of people, to these two groups of people, I think finding a recruiter, talking to them, tell them what you want and how you can help them is also crucial, because recruiters are getting paid to help you find a job. So make use of that resource, guys.
Just with that, because I think people would struggle a little bit to know what they can bring to a recruiter, apart from themselves and them as a candidate. So when you say that, are you talking about something different, or just being an asset, so to speak, for a recruiter in terms of the skills that you have and the type of candidate that you would be?
Yeah, I think so. First of all, you gotta know what job do you want. So you gotta find a recruiter specialized in that area, and then you tell her your track record of achievements, and this is a company you're looking for. And please contact me if there are any roles opening up. And more oftentimes, they will just ignore you because there are no opening roles. And especially during COVID-19, if the company wants to hire, they probably wouldn't find a third-party agency and pay them to hire a person. So finding recruiters is one way. Cold emailing companies you want to work for is another way. Or if you're brave enough, just call them. Just call them. Call the customer service line. I don't care. Tell them you want to work for them and can you transfer me to someone else. You just need one connection who can bring you in the company, and that's it. If you fail 999 times, it's okay. If you just win one time, you'll be there.
That's great advice. And what do you think made you stand out as an applicant, as a graduate? Was it the internships that you had and the experience prior to that, or what did you really hone, when you're coming into the market with not much experience? What do you think made you stand out in particular?
I used to think it was because of my entrepreneurship experience, of my extracurricular activities, but I was kind of egoistic for thinking like that, because companies have like much more intelligent people, much more experienced people than you. They wouldn't look at you and go, okay, you're fantastic, the experience is great. So I think the way how I stand out is through understanding the business. I really understand what the business is doing and how I can help them. And I tell them how, step by step. And I tell them, this is what I can do in 3 months. This is what I can do in 6 months. And I treat myself as a person who already worked in the organization. I know what problems they're facing, and I know how I sort of strategize on ideas of how to help them solve the problems. So if people see you as a problem solver, people see you as a pain reliever, people will be willing to open up their eyes or open up their ears to know your story. And even if you don't have many experience, that's okay. I've heard many managers told me, I'm flexible on the years of experience if the candidate is strong. So how do you define strong? You have to be a problem solver to the company. Otherwise, they won't pay you to solve a problem.
Yeah. So with IAG, where you are now, as in that pricing analyst role, what was the kind of research that you did to get that role, to get you over the line, and the company see you as somebody that could actually help solve their problems at that point?
So I was currently working in a team that's owned by IAG. It's called IL, and IL was rebranded after Berkshire Hathaway Insurance. So after we were rebranded, we were sort of in a startup phase, and so we are trying to grow. And I was like, okay, I have experience in building business for myself and then for the previous internship company I worked for. So my value is I know business model. I know how to turn things around during tough time, and I have persistence and resilience. So I tell them. So I think because I can't tell you the specific problem they're facing because that might be confidential. So I just tell them through my previous entrepreneur and business experience. This is what I faced before, and this is what I can think can apply to the business as well.
Yeah.
I think, Jeff, these are all absolutely fantastic strategies. It's, as me and KB has always been saying, is think like an entrepreneur. Step into the world of their business and their pain, and then project yourself as a problem solver. I think you absolutely demonstrated that, that thinking process in your application. If you still have sorry, if you still have got questions for Jess, please send it across. We are running out of questions for you, Jess. So you've done a remarkable job. And by the way, you've not even deflected one single question. So obviously, you don't have any qualities to become a top politician. So disregard that career option. I think you probably won't be a great advisor too, because the advisors are also not specific as well to politicians. So look, Jess, it's been fantastic, catching you, and I think your story will uplift many people, and force them to think a bit differently. And also that strategy around 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is also very practical, and it will help them out as well in various endeavors that they have taken on. So, and last question we have got. Okay, so Imtiaz is asking, what kept you going in the darkest of times, and what was your North Star that guided you? Anything that you want to add to that?
Great question to the person who asked that. So when I face dark time, I ask myself this question, and this question always brings me hope. So I ask myself, okay, Jess, who on earth right now would be dying to have your problems? So I was rejected, let's say 100 times, okay? So who on earth right now would be dying to have my problems? Maybe a person who just diagnosed with cancer, and he has 3 months to live. And he'll be dying to even have the opportunities to get rejected. And how lucky I am to get rejected for 100 times. This is his dream, literally. And the person who lost his parents due to a car accident, and compared to life, like rejection is really nothing. So that question literally brings me hope. Every dark moment I had, it's a pivot, a shift in your perspective. So you realize sometimes it's even a privilege to get rejected in a free country like Australia. What if you live in a country that have no free rights, and you couldn't do much things to yourself, and you'll be dreamed to go to another country and get rejected? So a changing perspective really helped a lot.
What a great way to put it. I mean, yeah, it's when you think back about what we're scared of, often it is just like you say, that being rejected and that uncomfortable feeling around, being rejected. But in the scheme of things, it can be a gift as well. So, yeah, fantastic.
Thank you again, Jess, for joining us on a very short notice. And we wish you all the best. I think you've been doing some tremendous work, and spread the hope. The way you shared your hope, with our audience. I'm sure that you recently had a session with Monash University graduates as well, and I'm pretty sure that they would have uplifted listening to your simple but very, very effective strategies of finding a role. So more power to the work. When we speak next time, I'll make sure that I can pronounce the exact word of your studies.
Actually.
Yeah, so
don't worry, I can't even pronounce it correctly.
I'll try, because look, people get really, when they have to pronounce my name, they are really worried about in their head for 5 minutes. Should I ask Naisha, how do I pronounce it? And so I think I have to be receiving on this side, that I'll make sure that. But thank you again, everyone. KB, anything you want to add to?
No, just absolutely delightful to have you, Jess, and all the best. I know you'll go far. You're in a great company. You've got a great attitude, and you've learned a lot. So it's been absolutely delightful to have you on our show. And if we're still doing this in a year's time, we'll get you on again, or before that.
In
terms of tracking your career. Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you, guys. Check out their website as well. They provide fantastic career advice, and they spread hope during COVID-19. It's very important to surround yourself with people who actually lift you up and bring you hopes.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you, Jess. Now, next week, so we will be back on Monday again, spreading hope and optimism to your LinkedIn screen and to your life. Next week, I don't have the list in front of me, but we are going to have enough and fantastic guests coming
I
your
think
way.
it's not for you. We've got
Yeah,
Melinda.
okay, Katie, go ahead.
So we've got Melinda talking about side hustles and the 10 steps you need to go through to actually start your side hustle. We've got
Wow,
Jeff.
can I join?
I know. She's fantastic. We've had her on before. We've got Jeff Altman talking about, he's coming all the way from North Carolina, talking about interview framework. On Wednesday, I'm not going to be here, so I'm not sure who we've got for Wednesday.
No, but Tuesday afternoon. So Tuesday we have two sessions. So one is 9 a.m. From US, and 3 p.m. we got Simon Crawley is coming, from Melbourne, and we are going to talk about online presence, and some of the real innovative tools that he talked about are around how do recruiters' social profile, create your social profile, and how do they use it. Some of the cutting edge stuff. So that's what we are going to talk about on Tuesday. That's right. And on Thursday, we have a recruiter coming along talking about resumes. And on Friday, we will do this again, and we will be joined by two people also on next Friday, two people who landed a job, one in IT and one other one in engineering. So we're going to bring our success stories to your screen and your life. So look after yourself, everyone. It's a great weekend, very sunny in Melbourne for next 2 days. So please enjoy the sunshine, but make sure that you are still socially distancing yourself, as well. But stay, look after yourself and your family members. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. Bye, guys.